Hey everyone, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and ready to kick this one off with another round in the New Testament. Well, believe it or not, this week we're going to be covering 3 different books of the Bible, as a couple of these, like today's, they're only 1 chapter long. Well, if you didn't already know, today is 2 John, and a short one it is. In fact, out of the entire Bible, if you're measuring by verses, 2 John qualifies as the shortest book of them all, coming in at a whopping 13 passages. Now, with that said, you would be amazed at just what the Apostle John was able to fit in this, so let's not waste any time. It's a good one today. This is 2 John. Now, this particular book was also written by the apostle and disciple John, but the person whom he wrote it to seems to have been a Christian mother whose children were persevering in their faith. Now, we don't know for sure who this elect lady was, but John even included greetings from her nieces and nephews. Now, the book was written in about 90 AD, and most historians believe that John himself died in around 98 AD. So he was well aged when this book was written. The theme of the book continues on where 1 John left off, which is the warning against false teaching. Let's go ahead and read some of the opening passages in verses 4 through 6. I rejoiced greatly that I found some of your children walking in truth as we have received commandment from the Father. And now I plead with you, lady, not as though I write a new commandment to you, but that which we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. This is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, that as you have heard from the beginning, you should walk in it. Now, here's what is so amazing to me. Here John is nearing the end of his life. I mean, the man literally walked with Jesus, has continued on in ministry, even though most of the other disciples at this point have been killed for their faith. And the thing that he is still holding out as the most important commandment to keep is that we love one another. Now, that's amazing. I mean, this is like sitting down with someone like Billy Graham, and the thing that they tell you at the end of it all is that loving God and loving people is the most important thing. You know, the funny thing is, I would imagine that's exactly what Billy Graham would say. Well, let's keep reading now. We're going to look at the warning that John gives to this woman in verses 7 through 11. For many deceivers have gone out into the world who do not confess Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Look to yourselves that we do not lose those things we worked for, but that we may receive a full reward. Whoever transgresses and does not abide in the doctrine of Christ does not have God. He who abides in the doctrine of Christ has both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this doctrine, do not receive him into your house nor greet him, for he who greets him shares in his evil deeds. Now, this is a strong warning that John is closing his letter with here. John isn't just saying to avoid false doctrine, but he's saying that if you receive a person like this into your own home, or even greet them, then you are sharing in their evil deeds. Now, do you know why this is so important? Because John was seeing the way in which the devil was trying to infiltrate the church. He was trying to bring deception and confusion in with this false teaching about Christ. But it's not just that the thinking is wrong or that there's some kind of small error in it. What ultimately happens is that this teaching separates people from Christ. The end result is the worst thing imaginable, which is eternal separation from God. Listen, I think we should treat people with kindness and respect, but if someone tries teaching something that is completely wrong and will ultimately lead people away from Jesus, then just like John says, it should be rejected and not accepted. It's okay, even as loving Christians, to take a stand against things that are wrong, false, and lead people away from Christ. You know, one of the ways in which you show love for people is by protecting them, and this is exactly what John was doing here in his role as an apostle. Even if he was in his 80s or his 90s, he wasn't about to let false doctrine start slipping into the churches. And that is the shortest book in the New Testament. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for being here today. Glad I got to spend it all with you. Tomorrow we're continuing on in the final letter that John wrote, 3 John. It's another one with just 1 chapter, but more good stuff that you do not want to miss. Hope you're all having an awesome day wherever you may be watching this from. Know that God loved you enough to send Jesus. Choosing to follow him is the greatest decision that you could ever make. You all go out and have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.